Hi. Hi, Stephanie. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Laura. And thank you so much, Angie. It's an honor.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here. So before I'm going to do your formal bio in a second because we always do that. But I just wanted to let listeners know that Stephanie did the same program that we did in
That's right.
the Feng Shui, the BTB Masters program. So she is also an alum. So and living in New York, correct?
That's
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. So we invited her on because we have a shared background. And as you know, the topic of this episode is about tarot and feng shui, because I also am interested in tarot. And so Stephanie, and it all just kind of work together. So before we get into that, I just want to say, I want to formally introduce Stephanie. Stefanie Kelly, chef, writer, diviner, and feng shui consultant, is a 33-year veteran of the fine dining and author of Lush Mojo Tarot for Urban Shamans. And she has an upcoming cookbook memoir called Heat, Tales, Spells, Bubbling Cauldrons, Trailing the Path of the Kitchen Goddess. I love it. Miss Kelly is also the host of Infused with Chef Stefanie Kelly, a discussion format cooking show about cannabis edibles. And you can find info about Stephanie at lushmojo.com. So excited to have you here, Stephanie, and I'm excited to talk about tarot. So I love
So
it.
excited to be here. So excited to be here. Do you read yourself, Laura?
Yeah. So it's kind of new for me. It's been, well, like 6 months here. We're talking. It's something that I've always dabbled with and was really interested. And then I finally decided, no, I'm going to study. So I found a teacher
Nice.
here she's in Toronto. And I really like, I love it. So it's something I've been wanting to do for a really long time. So I'm excited. So, and we'll talk more about different ways we use it. But, you know, because you practice both feng shui and tarot, what do you like? What drew you to the practice of tarot? Why do you love it?
It's the most interesting thing. So that would go into kind of intergenerational stuff where in some of the first stores. And so if you have a witchcraft store in New York, you're dealing with a gathering of people, a coven that are supporting that, right? They usually gather every month or every week or how often they gather, and that's part of the spiritual energy of the store. So of those first covens would have been a place called the Warlock Shop in Brooklyn Heights, and then that morphed into, with Blessed Be the Dead owner Herman Slater, to the Magical Child, also in New York, which gave rise to Enchantments, which is still running, and other places like the Magical Candle and Candle Therapy. So why do I bring those up? So my aunt is a Wiccan priestess who sat in the original covens that gave rise to the Warlock Shop and also the Magical Child. So she was a person I always knew about, but I didn't think she would affect my life or anything. You know what I mean? I was just like, that's my aunt, she's a witch. And it would be like a glamorous thing to be able to say. But then at about 12 years old, I'm over at my girlfriend Vicky's house and she whips out this deck of tarot cards. And I'm like, what's this? And that's how I started reading. She taught me how to read. Then years later, I'm 25, I'm looking into ancestral studies. I look up my auntie. She initiates me without me realizing and is like, oh, you're reading tarot, that's great. And that's it. I'm like, after that, I'm reading professionally more, and that's how it started.
You know, I have a cute story about when Laura and I started our business. I was really getting into carved candles at Enchantments, which
oh my goddess, we never spoke on this. All right, sorry.
Okay, well, because and I heard about the carved candles with other feng shui people. Like I went to like a Joey Yap thing, and it was with like a few other feng shui people like Doris, Ingber, and Joey Santiago, and Susan Chan, and my friend Valerie. And we were like, Joey, Santiago, and Doris Ingber were talking about carved candles, and they're like, oh my god, and they were talking about enchantments. I was like, I want to do that. And so I took a class at Enchantments, and it's so funny, I took this picture and everyone's like, I put it on Instagram and they're like, you look so happy. Cause I was like so excited to do something artsy and magic-y. And so then Laura and I, when we started our business, we went to enchantments and got special we carved our own
For
candles
the
Mhm.
business.
for our
Mhm.
business partnership.
Oh,
We
that's
carved the
so
same one. Yeah.
crazy. We've never spoken on this. We've never spoken on this. What an interesting, what a
Yeah, it
beautiful.
was very
Okay,
cool.
Well, because Stephanie and I we take classes together and we just like, we pass notes in class instead of paying
it's
attention. That's what we
really,
do.
really funny. In fact, I was talking to, so my dad's a teacher and I was telling my dad, yeah, this chick that I'm have a whole thing for that I love, that we attended the same school. We're passing notes back together, you know, back and forth in Stephen's class. And so I'm saying to her that after class, you then said, I said, well, what do you do when people pass notes back to, you know, back and forth in your class? And you were like, I have comments disabled. I don't allow this. And I was crying. I was literally crying. So I told my dad about it and he could not stop laughing. I was like, can you stand it? Like,
yeah, so Angie doesn't live by her own rules, I guess.
We were being so scandalous that Stephen was like, you have to stop.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. If Stephen's listening to this right now, he'll be like, I knew it.
It was so funny. Yeah, because we never actually copped to it after class when it was happening. You know what I mean? Like it's very funny stuff.
Yeah, I was just to talk about the candles again, back it up. I know we're not this is nothing on candles, but that was pretty awesome actually. When Angie and I we did it in her living room. We walked, we did the whole thing, we had everything. And then we did it with the intention for our new partnership. And I mean, in hindsight, you know, I actually haven't really thought about that since then. I mean, I know we had the candles and we each got our other candles as well. It's very cool. Yeah. So I love I love the connection. By the way, I love your lineage and I love the history you got going on there. That's fantastic. I mean, it's interesting. For me, tarot was a way for me to reconnect with my own heritage and lineage, just as, you know, Italian Canadian, with cartomancy. And, you know, I just thought this is something I want to learn, a divination tool that connects with that. But also I love the visual part. Like for me as an artist, and we're going to talk about it because you're going to talk about your deck that you're doing as well, which is super cool. As an artist, it just symbolism and visual and just that way of it just makes a lot of sense to me. So I love that practice. And I think the kinds of insights you can gain from it. I wasn't even prepared when I first started, you know, for sounds crazy, how accurate it is. I mean, it really is.
Amazing.
It really is. I mean,
really
Feng Shui is incredibly accurate in its own way about energies, but it's different. You have to go through a bigger process, and you look at tarot I mean, we have different forms of divination in Feng Shui, which are equally cool. The thing about tarot for me was just that, the cards and the visual, like the fact that little snapshot and just understanding the layers in it, you know, was very cool.
Right. It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. I'm often struck by how accurate it is. One of the things that I'm promoting, and she actually, as an Aquarius, is the star card in my deck, is the fact that a woman of mixed heritage, apparently, like rumors of her being a Black woman, essentially was the visual artist of the deck. Now, when you hear the words Ryder Waite, we all know what that means, right? So this eponymous, like it is the iconic cornerstone of the repping of this deck. She did the artwork, and she was also part of, as they all were, part of a magical coven together. Patriarchy, hi patriarchy, knock knock, who's there? Patriarchy, who? So essentially her name just gets sliced off the deck. So I no longer refer to it as Ryder Waite. I refer to it as Smith Colman, because her name was Pamela Smith Colman, blessed be the dead, or Colman Smith deck, because it's so crazy that she wouldn't even, you know,
without the drawings, you got nothing. Like you got nothing.
Got a lot of descriptions in a really cute workbook, but it's not a tarot deck, guys.
No.
And no one cares. You know what I mean?
So much is built on the color choices, the way she did. Like, I mean, it's just, You can't tell me that they told her like that's all like and
It's
then they're like,
channeled.
yeah, what she did. Sure,
and they all
let's
work
talk about
together.
that.
I'm not even going to take it from the guys. I'm just going to say, guys, how could this have even? She died in debt. Blessed be the dead. She died in debt. How? By the time the bitch came out, it was already a legend. And you know what I mean? And it has inspired like. Colman Smith Ryder Waite has inspired almost every modern deck that we know. They're either working off of that template or working against it consciously, in which case we're still caught up. You know what I mean? Like it's really, so I just wanted to
100%. No, that is fascinating. And I'm glad you brought that up.
No, the only thing I found out is because I was researching the deck. That's it. Yeah. So it's really
because we're going to talk about that in a second. Before we get there, let's talk. I just want to make sure we touch on how I don't know if you do this, but I'll tell you what I do. Because Feng Shui is such a big part of it's my core business. Like it's what I do, right? It's what I teach. It's what I do as consultations. So for me, I use tarot as as a modality or a practice to help me gain insight into what I need to know going in with a client. Now, sometimes the client might have a question that I can't, that they might want really, specific, and I might ask them. I might douse about it. I might do the I Ching, but I find that tarot is really effective for me beforehand, saying, okay, I see this in the floor plan. I see this. And so I ask, I'll ask questions around that. And it's really interesting. So I get a lot of clarification from it for me when I do it. Now, I don't know how you probably just do straight up tarot. I don't know if you combine the two. Do you combine the two?
Okay. So because I have these hardcore tarot clients, you know what I mean, from years and years, I basically do a lot of tarot with them. When I'm doing I Ching, when I'm doing Feng Shui, I'll usually try to use I Ching, or unless the person requests tarot, in which case I'm using tarot. There are other people who are going to request runes, in which case, fine, I'll use runes. You know what I'm saying? Like it really just, but it does. I do have I do sense a connection between all of them, and I use them pretty fluidly throughout. When I'm running for clients.
Yeah. And I, when I first started learning, so you came at it differently. I'm assuming you knew tarot and then you probably came to Feng Shui after, correct?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I did the other way around. For me, you have to, yes, there are universal similarities. And I have to say the one thing I'm actually finding really easy, well, it makes sense. Now I know the elements are different, but at the end of the day, for instance, the wands is basically wood and fire combined together. And once you kind of know that, you're like, well, because honestly, the energy descriptors are the same. Like they're very similar, right? The energy. And so I find that, and really it is all about energy, and be able to understand the suits, and the energy of the suits was really helpful. And it connects so well in ways, but I did have to challenge myself, which I think a lot of people do, is let's not try to come with my Feng Shui brain and cram it into tarot, let's try and see them separately so that we can learn them properly. So I really did have to make a conscious effort to do that.
And also I love that you mentioned about wood and fire being combined with the wand suit, but also metal and earth are combined with the pentacle suit. If you think about it.
Agreed. Totally.
And I had, after years, and I mean years, of doing magic in the Wiccan arena, but also in the Afro-diasporic arena. In any case, aside from all that, practicing all these different modalities in different languages, we had been drawing the pentagram for years. I saw it again when Barry Gordon was teaching level 3, I think no, maybe it was level 2 in August. Did you go to camp? You went to camp, right, Laura?
Yeah.
So we're sitting up in Connecticut, and he's drawing the overcoming cycle with these arrows, and it's making a pentagram. And I just could not stop crying for 45 minutes. I just was sitting there like quietly sobbing, because I was like, it just connected everything together. You know what I mean? Like the fifth element, there it was. It was
Yes. Yeah. It's okay. Yes, you're right. Like, I mean, it's good to know. So now that I'm I feel like I know more about tarot. I mean, I like any modality, you're always learning, but I do have a comprehensive sense of it now. I'm like, oh yeah, I see how it all kind of clicks. But, you know, when I first started learning it, I'm like, beginner's mind, put that out of your head.
Fool's mind,
But
right, of course.
yeah, but now yeah, it's really, and I think that's partly for me why it works so well, as a way to see what's going on, because I'm like, oh, there's a lot of fire here. There's a lot of fire what, you know, whatever. And then I'm like, okay, so that it instantly connects, right? So it's
Right.
really good. Yeah, I think so explain to me, you do the I Ching as well? Or do you
I
do that as
do.
well? Yeah.
I do. And it's funny, I'm not good at it at all. And it's brand new. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's brand new and I'm not good at it. And I'm like, okay, so you must become really good at this. Like, and part of doing the deck is that in addition to this Wiccan thing, right? And there's a good deal of, you know, English and Irish ancestry, but there's also a predominant African ancestry and a predominantly African practice that I maintain with my Afro-diasporic studies.
Mm-hmm.
So in graduating to the modalities of what's going to end up being a deep study of I Ching and a deep study of caracoles, which are connected to the Afro-diasporic, I wanted to do the deck to graduate to those other.
So let's talk about this deck. Okay, so you're tell us what you're doing with this new deck from Lush Mojo.
So I'll send you guys some pictures too, and you know, I'll send you some pictures. So there's a sense of there only being deep spirituality, you know what I mean, sitting in meditation on a cool clouded mountain, right? You know, like that's the only time that it happens. And what I was noticing for how it was working was that I would see literal actual signs, like I'd be thinking, I wonder about so-and-so. And it would be like, yes, this way. And I would be like, is this a joke? Like what's happening? And so that's how it started to be more photography based, because I'm not a painter and I am not a drawer, but I do have an affinity to collage. So I started taking pictures and also borrowing, you know, if it was collective imagery that, you know, over 100 years old or that can be used, and credited, and kind of collaging stuff that would remind me of different cards. And that's how the deck started to take form. Literally, like I was staring at the Statue of Liberty one day and I was like, oh, it's the star. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, oh, that's the star. Like it was just so obvious. You know, I was at Trump Tower and I was like, God damn it, this is awful. And it feels like the tower. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh my God, this is it. Here we are. Here we are. Like, you know, so different like signs and symbols would present themselves through an urban lens. And I realized that, you know, you have to be able to be in a meditative state where you are immediately. You have to be able to tap into your flowing spirituality if you're in an urban space. Like you can't say I'm only evolved half the time. I'm evolved when I'm on a silent retreat. No, you're evolved. You're gonna have to practice that shit every day, you know, on the subway. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was like, so there's got to be people who have this moment of like, I got to be evolved all the time, and I live in a city and I want to. And we are.
But I think, and I've seen some of the photos and it's really cool. And I mean, as an artist as well, I mean, found items, collage, multimedia. I mean, that's art. I mean, that is art. That's actually, I do a lot of multimedia. So that is very, I'm looking forward to seeing the whole deck. I'm not going to lie. And then of course, I want to see it with like, you know, like you said, like I want to step away, kind of see it so that I can not try and put everything else out of my head and see it. Cause I think, as you said, the essence of it will really speak. And I love the Statue of Liberty as a star. That's great. Really great. Yeah. So, okay. So that is, we'll have stuff, on the show notes for it, and because we want to have links. So how can people find you and get in touch with you?
Oh,
And
so then,
find
thank you.
things?
Thank you for saying that. All right, so then www.lushmojo.com will pull up my website and information, and I'm rolling out the deck on the website. In fact, to be
Okay.
honest, the website is the whole reason for the website, and the horoscope that's on the website is to support the deck, to
What's the
introduce.
deck called? Like, is it called Lush Mojo, or what's the
It's
deck?
called Lush Mojo,
Okay.
Tarot for Urban Shamans.
Yeah.
That's what it's
Okay.
called. Yeah.
Urban
Yeah.
Shamans, love it.
So I do a whole,
Okay.
the 4 suits are from my life. So I was catering a wedding in Atlanta, and Atlanta is a city and yet is a country. It has country and city mouse stuff about it. I love it so much. So I was shooting, the lovely hostess had a bonfire going the night before the wedding, and I shot that became the fire suit. Then urban beekeep, that became the earth suit, like the background of the beehive. The driving to the beach one day became the water suit, and the air suit is another driving to the beach sky shot. So it was all around cities, you know what I mean, or in the city that the suits were produced.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it all. Thank you. That's good. This was fun. We're gonna have to do this again.
Thanks so much for having me. I really gotta bow down with all the honor on earth, where you guys are doing everything right. I mean, you are doing the work, and I'm so glad that you're doing the work. I really am. Because graduating from Hogwarts, I've really felt like I entered into a special realm of people. And I'm so glad that you guys have the torch and are carrying it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's fun. We love it. And we like doing this podcast, and people hopefully like to listen to us, and it's great. And thank you for being here. It was really fun. And it was good to have a fellow classmate join us. And I love that we have this connection with the tarot. So we'll have to do something again for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So thanks so much, Stefanie. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Angie. Talk again. Thank you.